My generation was raised by World War II veterans. My father, a sailor on the aircraft carrier Yorktown, was one of those iron men who served on those ships. They were burned to death, blown to hell, drowned, eaten by sharks, shot to pieces literally, and watched as their comrades suffered these fates. War, the big one, World War II. A massive piece of insanity that brewed from the ashes of World War I. The war to make the world safe for democracy. These men went through their lives, for the most part, with untreated post-traumatic stress disorder. Dad is no exception. When I'm growing up, he's a man of few words. He shows me the picture of a kamikaze plane breaking apart from anti-aircraft fire. It passes harmlessly over the flight deck. No story, just the picture, and the terse comment, "That's a goddamn kamikaze." He has little patience for us kids. There are 5 of us. "I don't know what's wrong with these goddamn kids of mine. I should have raised chickens. I could have wrung their necks." But it doesn't matter. I want to be just like him. I read everything I can get my hands on about World War II. I build models of war machines. One Christmas, my mom and dad gave me a plastic scale model of the USS Halibut, an assault submarine with nuclear missile capability. Oh wow, it's motorized. Looking at the picture on the box and reading the features on the side panel, it dives and resurfaces, and the sub can carry out a figure-8 maneuver cycle, and thanks to its cam action drive. Wow. I've been building models since I was 14 as a result of meeting my best friend Barry. His collection of model cars is displayed in a glass enclosed cabinet in his room. The models are meticulously assembled and painted, some with their hoods open to show off engines painted realistically with chrome valve covers and air cleaners. My car models often have windshields with glue smears made worse by attempts to wipe the glue off with solvents. I soon branch out into war machines. The German battleship Graf Spee, scuttled after its defeat in the Battle of Scapa-Flow, collects dust and cobwebs on my dresser. The USS Forrestal, an American destroyer, is there also. Tin cans, they were called in the Navy. I asked my dad, "Hey Dad, what were destroyers for?" "Make us seasick," he answers. Okay. Various fighter planes are scattered around my room, hanging from fish line to give the impression of flight. The Halibut is the crowning glory, though, a working submarine. I set the launch date for spring. Finally, the big date is there. It's sunny. I'm at the creek behind my house. I turn the Halibut's electric motor on and ever so gently set it on the surface of the water. It dives towards the bottom of the stream. I watch expectantly. Nothing happens. It just sits on the bottom. I review every stage of building the model for a clue as to why it doesn't execute the figure-8 and resurface triumphantly. After high school, I joined the Army and prepared to go proudly to Vietnam. I turn a deaf ear to the guys who come back saying, "Don't go, it's bullshit, it's all bullshit." I think they're just hogging the glory for themselves. And then the reality of war changes everything. Incidents, large and small, turn my head around. I develop an absolute distrust and hatred for what has been going on. Arguing with my comrades about the war, I hear myself saying, "Whatever happened to my country, right or wrong?" But all the while, my pro-war stance is losing ground, all around me, and inside me too. One day I'm riding shotgun in a Jeep that runs over a boy, exposing the obscenely glistening white bone of his ankle, and while I stand in the swirling dust as the convoy roars past, I realize I'm an unwelcome soldier in a strange country. When I return home, I am unrecognizable from the clean-cut boy the cops always used to let go. There are my first attacks of malaria my first months home. There's a pistol stuck to the side of my neck outside a bar one night, and me yelling, "Go ahead, shoot, motherfucker." I go under for a quarter century. Oh, I work, reproduce, keep up outside appearances. But then I land in a detox in a 30-day rehab in my 40s. It's like coming out of a trance, a state of suspended animation where I watched hypnotized as an outsider in my own life. Now I'm 67. I buy some books about the Yorktown and look for my father in them. I learn more about the capital ships like the battleship New Jersey, whose main armaments were 16-inch diameter cannons capable of firing a 2,000-pound projectile for distances up to 20 miles. The firing rate was such that some 90 of these one-ton rounds could be airborne before the first one hit the ground. It's the equivalent of firing 90 Volkswagens at Woodstock from the Hudson River. Okay, I searched for my father so that I can understand him, and by extension, understand myself. This year I go on a life-changing 2-week trip to Vietnam, a soul retrieval journey. I attend a couple of retreats and a conference about incarcerated veterans. When Johnny comes marching home and goes to prison. 500,000 Vietnam veterans have been arrested or incarcerated. It is estimated that there are 100,000 Vietnam vets in prison today and 200,000 on parole. Since 1975, nearly 3 times as many Vietnam veterans have committed suicide as were killed in the war. Suicide rates among veterans, Vietnam veterans, are higher than those among any other group in the United States. My next younger brother, a Vietnam-era Air Force vet, is homeless. I avoid making eye contact when I encounter him on the street. My youngest brother also served in the Air Force. He killed himself a decade ago. Now I'm the one wrestling with PTSD, the soul wound called PTSD. And although I had long ago become him, I realize I am not my father. I felt torn for years about serving in an unpopular war, which the soldiers were blamed for losing. That has shifted into a sense of purpose. There's room for elder warriors like me. We still have a duty when it goes beyond country.